Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive into something that I think we all kind of need a little bit of help with sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're talking about finances, specifically taking control of your financial well-being.
That's right.
It's like, you go to the doctor for your annual checkup.
Right.
But how often do you do that for your finances?
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about all that today. We have a fantastic expert with us, John White, president of Financial Guidepost. We'll give you all of his information later on in the show if you want to reach out to him. He can help you on a more personal level with all of this.
Yeah.
And that's something we're going to be talking about today. What does it really mean to be financially healthy?
Right.
How often should we be checking in on our finances? And most importantly, what are some simple steps that we can take to improve our financial fitness?
Yeah. I think sometimes people think about financial health and it can be kind of an intimidating subject for some people. But, the first thing I would say is it doesn't have to be. It really is about gaining clarity and taking small steps towards creating a more secure future. So we want to break down some of those intimidating factors and kind of just lay it all out there as simple as possible.
I love that.
Yeah.
Small steps.
Yeah.
Big impact.
Yeah.
All right, so before we dive into the specifics, let's kind of set the stage here. Define what it actually means to be financially healthy. It's not just about being rich.
Oh, no, not at all. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, they outline kind of 4 key elements of financial well-being. None of them are tied to income at all. And the first is this: feeling in control of your day-to-day finances.
Okay.
And so that means being able to pay your bills on time, manage your spending, and just save for short-term goals.
Right.
Really about confidence when it comes to money.
Right. We all want to have that secure feeling of like, okay, I got this.
Right. I'm not stressed out about money all the time.
Exactly. What's the next one?
So the next one is being prepared for the unexpected.
Okay.
Life is unpredictable. There are curveballs that are thrown our way, whether it's a sudden car repair, a medical expense,
Oh, yeah.
job loss.
Right.
Having that financial cushion, an emergency fund, that can make a big difference.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there many a time. It's really nice to have that safety net when those things inevitably happen.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, number 3.
Number 3 is having financial freedom. Being able to make choices that align with your values and goals, whether that means saving for a dream vacation, investing in your education, or having that flexibility to pursue a passion project. Whatever it is, you're not being held back by financial constraints.
It's about living and thriving, not just surviving.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, last one, number 4.
So the last one is making progress toward your long-term financial goals. Buying a home, retiring comfortably, whatever those big goals are. Just having a plan in place and actively working toward them is a key indicator of financial health.
So financial health is multifaceted. It's about feeling secure, having those options,
right,
and working towards a brighter future. And this is really where working with someone like John White can really help, right?
Absolutely. His expertise lies in helping people personalize all 4 of these elements. And so what he doesn't believe in is a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah.
So he takes the time to really understand your unique circumstances, goals, and your risk tolerance to create a plan that's tailored specifically for you.
I think it's so important to find someone who really understands where you're at and what you're looking for and trying to achieve. Now, Investopedia has this really helpful financial checkup checklist. Do you want to walk us through it a little bit?
Sure, yeah. And remember, if any of this is sparking questions, don't hesitate to reach out to John White. He's helped tons of people gain control of their finances and achieve their goals. So first up on the checklist is assessing your financial goals. This is about dusting off those dreams and aspirations you might have tucked away. Maybe it's buying a house, starting a business, traveling the world, whatever it is.
Right.
Those big things. We tend to get caught up in the day-to-day and lose sight of those bigger goals.
Yeah.
But taking the time to revisit them and make sure that they are still relevant is crucial. Life changes, priorities shift, and so your financial goals should reflect that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And this is where having that conversation with someone like John White can really help. Like, okay, these are my goals.
Right.
How do I prioritize? How do I create a realistic and achievable plan? He could help with that, right?
Exactly. He's a master at breaking down seemingly overwhelming goals into manageable steps. So it's about creating a roadmap, not just dreaming about the destination.
I love that. Okay. So next up at the checklist is evaluating your budget.
Yes.
Now, I know a lot of people hear the word budget and they just want to cringe and run away. They're like, oh, restrictions, deprivation.
I know. It gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be about punishing yourself. It's really about understanding where your money is going and making sure it's aligned with your values and your priorities. It's about making your money work for you, not against you.
Yes, I love that reframing. It's about empowerment, not deprivation.
Yes.
And again, this is another area where John White can really help.
Absolutely.
To create a budget that's realistic,
Yes.
flexible, and that actually works for your individual lifestyle, right?
Right. He doesn't believe in cookie cutter budgets.
Right.
It's all about finding a system that fits your needs and helps you achieve those goals.
Okay, so we've covered goals and budget.
Yeah.
What's next on the checklist?
All right. So next up, we've got emergency fund, savings, and investments.
Yes.
It's like building this solid
Yeah.
financial house.
Yes, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Brick by brick.
Yeah. Your emergency fund acts as that safety net, right? Catching you when those unexpected expenses pop up.
Mhm.
And, we talked about those unexpected events, aiming for 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. It's a great starting point.
Right.
But again, someone like John White can really help you figure out what that ideal amount is for you
Yeah.
based on your situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Everyone's situation is so different.
Right.
So, yeah, having that tailored advice is going to be really helpful. So then what about savings and investments? How do those fit into the picture?
So savings are more for those short to medium term goals, a down payment on a house, a new car, those things where you need that money to be pretty liquid. And then investing is more for long-term growth. It's about putting your money to work for you so it can grow faster than inflation, so you can build wealth over time.
Yeah, and I know investing is really intimidating for a lot of people, especially beginners.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much jargon and so many options.
It's so confusing, right?
Yeah, that's where John White really helps a lot of his clients. He kind of demystifies that world of investing, explains things in simple terms, and helps people understand those different options that are out there.
Yeah.
And so working with a client, he determines their risk tolerance and time horizon
Right.
to recommend suitable strategies.
So essentially, he just takes the guesswork out of it.
He does, absolutely. And he really believes that, everyone deserves access to sound financial advice, regardless of income or background.
Yes.
Everyone has the opportunity to grow wealth.
Love it. Okay, so next item on the checklist is debt management,
Ooh, yeah.
which can be a really,
That's a tough one.
yeah,
Yeah.
tough one for a lot of people. Credit cards, student loans, car loans, mortgages, you name it.
It feels like a lot, right? It can be overwhelming. And so John White, he takes a very personalized approach to debt management as well. So working one-on-one, he analyzes their debt situation and develops a strategic plan for them to pay it down.
So it's not just like cut up your credit cards.
Yeah.
It's about really...
It's understanding what type of debt you have, what the interest rates are,
Right.
and creating a real strategy. So what are some of the things that John White uses?
So he often utilizes the snowball method, where you focus on paying off your smallest debt first
Yeah.
to kind of gain momentum and motivation.
Yeah.
The avalanche method, which prioritizes paying down that high interest debt first. So you're saving money in the long run. And sometimes it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I got to find what works for you.
Exactly, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so moving on, the next item on the checklist is credit score and report review. Now, I know this is important.
Yes.
Can you just break down kind of why it's so important for people?
Yeah, so think of your credit score like your financial report card. It's telling lenders, landlords, even some employers how responsible you are with money. And so, a good credit score can open doors to better interest rates.
Better rental options, higher credit limits, and then regularly reviewing your credit report helps you make sure that everything is accurate and, catch any errors or signs of identity theft.
Yeah, so just kind of being on top of that can really help
Absolutely.
your overall well-being. And I imagine John White also helps people
He does
as well.
Absolutely. He guides people through the process of understanding their credit reports,
Okay.
identifying those areas for improvement,
Awesome.
and then developing strategies to build and maintain a healthy credit score.
It's like having your own credit coach.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. Okay, so what about insurance coverage? Why is that included in this checkup?
So insurance is a critical part of financial planning. It protects you from the unexpected, so it's like a financial safety net for those just-in-case scenarios.
Right, so we talked about emergency funds.
Right.
But insurance is kind of another layer on top of that.
Another layer of protection, that's right. And so it helps mitigate the financial risks associated with health issues, accidents, property damage, even disability.
So it's not just health insurance we're talking about here.
No, it's all of them. Right.
It's having those different...
You got to have the right coverage across different areas of your life.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And John White, he helps his clients assess their current insurance coverage.
Okay.
And identify any gaps. Maybe you're underinsured somewhere. And then, find the right policies that provide adequate protection, but don't break the bank.
Right. So it's all about finding that balance of coverage and affordability.
That's right.
Okay. Makes sense. What about taxes?
Oh, yeah.
Not the most exciting topic, but they are a part of life.
Right. They're unavoidable. But they don't have to be a source of stress or confusion.
Yeah.
And so, understanding how taxes work.
Yeah.
Planning for them throughout the year.
Right.
And taking advantage of those deductions and credits.
Can really help you save money and minimize surprises come tax time.
And I'm sure this is another area.
Absolutely.
Where John White can be really helpful.
Yes. He stays up to date on all of the tax laws and regulations.
Right.
And helps clients develop those tax efficient strategies.
Okay. So last but not least on this checklist, estate planning.
Yes.
Now, this is something that a lot of people kind of push off.
I know, it's a tough one.
Because it's not the most fun thing to think about.
Right. But estate planning is important no matter how old you are or how much money you have. And it's about making sure that your wishes are carried out and that your loved ones are taken care of.
Yeah. So it's about that peace of mind.
It is, that's right.
Knowing that you've kind of put things in order.
Yes.
And that you're protecting your family.
Yeah.
And so John White, he helps people with this as well, right?
He does. He guides people through the entire estate planning process, creating wills, trusts, power of attorney documents, all of that to protect their assets.
So really important stuff.
It is.
To make sure that's taken care of. Wow. Okay, so we have covered a lot of ground here. With this financial checkup checklist, it really highlights how interconnected all of this stuff is.
It is.
It's not just about one thing. Now, before we move on to actionable steps, I did want to touch on something that the CFPD highlighted, which is the fact that a lot of people are struggling financially right now.
Yes. In 2024, 43% of families reported difficulty paying bills.
Wow.
Which was a significant jump from the year before. Inflation has put a strain on so many households, and it's really important to remember that these challenges are real and you're not alone if you're feeling that pinch.
It can be easy to just feel completely overwhelmed and discouraged. So what would John White say to people who are in that position, who are feeling really discouraged right now?
He would say, don't give up. Even small steps in the right direction can make a big difference. So focus on what you can control, like your spending habits. And remember, you don't have to go through this alone. Reach out to a financial expert for guidance and support. They're there to help you navigate those challenges and build a brighter financial future.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired now after all that. So we talked about defining financial health, and we went through this comprehensive checklist.
Right.
What's next?
Right.
Okay, so now that we've laid the groundwork, I think it's time to get practical. Like, what are some actionable steps that people can actually take to improve their financial well-being?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've talked about a lot of stuff.
Right.
But how do they put it into practice?
And it really is about those small, consistent steps.
Yes. Love that.
It's like building a muscle. Right. You're not going to go to the gym one time and then have a six-pack. Consistency and effort is key. So let's start with, we talked about budgeting earlier.
Okay, budgeting.
Yes.
We talked about how to kind of reframe it in our minds.
Yeah.
To not be this restrictive thing. But, but how do people actually do it? Where do you start?
Yeah, so first you need to track your spending for at least a month, maybe 2.
Okay.
Just to get a baseline of where your money is actually going.
Right.
You can use a simple spreadsheet, a budgeting app, or even just a notebook, whatever works for you.
Right, okay.
And then once you're tracking, you can start to analyze those spending patterns.
Okay.
And then, are there areas where you could cut back a little bit?
Okay.
Maybe you're eating out way more than you thought.
Right.
Maybe you can reduce that. Maybe you can find a more affordable gym membership.
Right. And just making more conscious choices about where your money's going.
That's right.
Rather than it's just disappearing from your account.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember, John White can provide that personalized guidance through this whole process. He helps people create budgets that align with their values and their goals and their lifestyle.
Yeah, it's not just generic advice. It's really tailored to the individual. Okay, so what about debt management. We talked about snowball and avalanche methods.
Right.
But what if you have a lot of debt? That can still feel really daunting.
Yeah. It can feel like a huge mountain to climb, right? But, even those small steps in the right direction can really make a difference. So, first, prioritize your debts. Which ones have the highest interest rates? You want to focus on paying those down first to save money on those charges.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, attack the debt that's costing you the most.
Right.
First and foremost. Are there other strategies that John White likes to use with people?
Yeah, he often suggests exploring debt consolidation. If you've got a lot of high interest credit cards, you could consolidate that into a single loan with a lower interest rate. Simplify those payments, save you some money. He can also help you negotiate with your creditors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to potentially lower those rates or create a more manageable payment plan.
Like having your own
Yeah.
financial advocate.
Exactly.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, let's talk about saving. We touched on emergency funds, but what about those long-term savings goals?
Yeah, so it's all about building healthy financial habits. And, automating your savings can be a total game changer.
Okay.
Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account, even if it's just a small amount.
Yeah. Just set it and forget it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Takes the work out of it, makes it seamless.
Yeah.
And so, John White is also a big proponent of paying yourself first, treating those savings goals like any other essential expense.
Okay.
And so you want to prioritize that in your budget.
Right. So it's not an afterthought.
Exactly.
Like, if I have money left over, I'll save.
Right. Yeah. And he also encourages people to kind of revisit those goals and make adjustments to those contributions.
Okay.
As needed, because things change, right?
Right. Yeah. Life happens. Your income changes.
So
you gotta your
goals
adapt.
That's right.
Okay. So let's talk about investing, which is kind of the big one.
Yeah. It's where the money can really start working for you.
Yeah.
But it can seem really overwhelming.
It has a reputation for being overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what John White does is he breaks it down into simple terms. He explains the different options, stocks and bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, all of that.
Okay.
And he really emphasizes the importance of diversification.
Right. Not putting all your eggs
Not
in
in
one
a basket.
And he really stresses having that long-term perspective. Investing is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So you got to just ride out the ups and downs.
Focus on the long game. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something that we talked about earlier, which is just a lot of people are facing financial challenges right now. And it can be easy to feel really overwhelmed and discouraged. So just for those people listening out there who are feeling that way, what would John White say to them?
He would say, don't give up. Small steps, like we've talked about, can make a big difference. So focus on what you can control, like your spending and your saving habits, and reach out for help. You don't have to do this alone. There are people out there who can help you navigate these challenges and build a better future.
That's such a great message.
Yeah.
And it really highlights, I think, why working with someone like John White can be so valuable. He's there for you every step of the way.
Yeah. He's truly passionate about helping people achieve their goals and live their best lives, financially speaking.
Okay, so I think a lot of people listening right now are like, all right, I need to talk to this guy. How can they get in touch with him?
You can visit his website provide John White's website address here, or you can give him a call provide John White's phone number here. He offers free consultations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Love this.
So don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, free consultation. Just pick his brain, learn how he can help you. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought. What's one small step that you can take today to improve your financial well-being? Maybe it's tracking your spending. Maybe it's setting up that call with John White. Maybe it's automating your savings. Whatever it is, just take that first step. Remember, small steps can lead to big results over time.
Yes. Love it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into financial health. We hope you feel empowered to take control of your financial well-being. And we'll see you next time for another exciting exploration of knowledge and ideas.